they're saying they didn't know that this was here, they didn't know that they could have done this, they knew about Trinidad. I mean, not bashing Trinidad, but there is Tobago, that little treasure in the Caribbean.
And it's important that we continue to promote our little treasure. Now, this morning, before we continue, we are going over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Renessa. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has prevailed in a 16-year land dispute after the UK-based Privy Council ruled in his favour and reinstated a High Court decision that had been overturned by the local Court of Appeal. The case involved a disagreement over land sold at Tobago's Alma estate. The Privy Council found that the appellate judges wrongly replaced Justice Nadia Kangalu's factual findings with their own. It ruled that the land sale to the gifts were clearly subject to a resurvey, revalidating Rowley's claim to over 85 acres promised since 1975. Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara has defended the actions of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service amid criticism from the Police Complaints Authority, the PCA, over recent fatal shootings during the state of emergency. Responding to PCA Director David West's concern, Guevara questioned the agency's silence during 2024's recorded 625 murders. He insisted the TTPS remains committed to transparency and that all police-involved shootings are independently reviewed. Emphasizing public safety, Guevara said the police will continue to act lawfully to protect citizens. Since July 18th, 6 men have been fatally shot by police in separate incidents. 2 major investigations in Tobago have seen developments, one related to a violent supermarket robbery and the other to a recent murder. Cody Kujo, 28 of Beetham Gardens, was charged with robbery with violence following a supermarket heist in Scarborough on June 30th. He received a $250,000 bail and must follow strict reporting and curfew conditions. 6 men reportedly attacked 3 people and escaped with 200,000 TT and 15,000 US. Kujo was arrested in Trinidad. Investigations to locate the others continue. Meanwhile, in the murder of Trevon Walker, 22, police released 1 suspect and expect to charge the other. Walker was ambushed and killed in Moriah on July 29th in what police believe was a personal dispute. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Natalia. Now it's on to the best part of the morning. It's our birthday segment. And this morning we have 3 persons we'd like to shout out. But before we shout them out, we'd also like to mention to all the other persons who have birthdays, happy birthday to you. First up, we have Celeron Frederick. Happy birthday to you. We hope you have a great day today. Enjoy and appreciate all that life has provided for you. Give thanks and spend with all the people who are special and near to you. Up next, we have
Summer Alonso. A happy birthday to you. I've always loved the people with bright smiles that send their photos in, and I really hope that this smile does follow you throughout the rest of the day. So happy birthday to you from the Tobago Updates family.
And finally, we have Carver Vincent. Happy birthday to you. We hope you have a great day, that it's filled with joy and laughter, and that you spend it with those who are near and dear to you. Happy birthday to everyone joining in, those who have birthdays today, and to all those we have mentioned this morning.
Okay, so Renessa, we have a very packed show for them this morning. You know, I missed the stuff that we would have spoken about this morning. We also have a lot more going on in this space. Trinidad and Tobago is a whole channel by itself, right? We know that. And we at Tobago Updates are ready to bring that news to you and those interviews specifically, right? So first up on our rundown, we have Curtis Williams, president of the Trinidad and Tobago Business Chamber Tobago Division, speaking to us on that recent mention of the UK visa proposed US 15K bond, right? So we'll hear a little bit about that today from Curtis Chamber, president of the Trinidad and Tobago Williams, president of the Trinidad and Tobago Business Chamber Tobago Division. Who do we have up next, Renessa?
We have Bad Bobo. He's a singer, songwriter, and entertainer, and he's here to talk about music release for October Carnival here in Tobago. He's also the son of John Mason, and when I realized that, you know, the song Princess Gone comes to mind. And finally, but certainly not least, we have
Renell Clark, Communications Officer of the Ancestral Walk Committee, speaking to us on Ancestral Walk 2025. So we have a lot in store, Inessa.
We do. And we are going to take you viewers through it here today with us at Tobago Updates Morning Show.
All right. So before we go, Renessa, let's encourage them to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
This August, you have no excuse. A night of passion, power, and purpose.
The Rhythmic Vibrations and Rhythm Babes Performing Arts Company presents No Excuse. Join us on Tuesday, 12th of August at the Shaw Park Complex at 6 p.m. for a night of dance, drama, and song.
This is not just a show. It's a movement, a message, a moment.
Tickets are only $125 for adults and $75 for children. You don't want to miss this.
What's your excuse?
No excuse.
I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump. Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me ramage. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, 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 take out your flag and fling it up, take out something and fling it up, fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, 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 start to jump up and fling it up, take out something and fling it up.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning again to our viewers and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. Now, Renessa and I took you through that very exciting rundown this morning, and we want to just start off with our first interview, being one of the biggest topics right now being discussed in Trinidad and Tobago, and I think across the region, on some information that was shared to us by one of head of states, internationally, right? So Mr. Curtis Williams is here to speak to us this morning, here to educate us as young people, and even those of us who may not be aware of the situation itself and what it means for us as Trinbagonians. All right, so Mr. Curtis Williams is the president of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Industry
Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
Chamber of Industry and Commerce. You see, I had to get that right. He was helping me. He's very helpful. He was helping me prior to this interview, right? And I promised Mr. Williams I will get it right before this interview is over. All right? But before we get on, of course, you want to meet the man of a few minutes this morning, and that is Mr. Curtis Williams. Good morning to you.
And good morning to your viewers and listeners and Tobago Updates. It's a pleasure being here.
It is a pleasure having you, especially in light of what is happening in our space today. I just want to say as well that he's very much competent in what we are about to speak about this morning. All right. So, Mr. Williams, could you give us an explanation as to what this 15,000 USD bond is about and how it relates to the tariffs? And could you go a little bit into the tariffs as well?
Okay, great. Good morning once more. So tariff is not something strange to us. It's not something new to us, right? Basically, a tariff is a tax that any government may impose on import or export. So it don't have to be export only. It could be import as well.
Okay.
That the government could put on goods or services are coming into the country. The reason why a government will put tariff is to protect the local distributors or manufacturers. Also, they could put tariff to assist in raising revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, they could put it to resist. Or you could put it to strike deals, like what Trump is doing.
Right.
So you're putting the tariff in order to strike deals. All right. And that's what happens. And these things have been going on. We have tariff throughout the Caribbean. We have tariff throughout the world. It's something that's been going on. Now, the trick about it is the percentage and how it is being applied. So tariff could be applied to the goods as a percentage, part of. And then it could apply as per unit. Again, a flat percentage per unit.
Right.
Or it could be the combination of the two of them.
Okay.
All right, so that's how the tariff could be placed on goods. And it could be import and export. So folks who manufacture goods in Trinidad and Tobago and want to sell to the U.S., they impose a 15% tariff. And it could be the other way around. The U.S. is importing goods, then they could be charged tariff as well. So you could do that as well. The government could do that.
Right.
But in this case is that goods coming into the U.S. is what's going to be charged the tariff, which is the 15%. And again, it's like a tax. Remember when we had the online ship purchasing and the government said they were going to put that's like tariff. It's the same thing. It's just that they have a nice name for it.
Okay.
So the same 7% they put for all online purchasing, remember that? Come that just like a tariff.
So we're seeing that now
like
being put on more of our goods and produce coming out and are raising it as per said by the U.S. president.
Correct.
All right. So that was the tariff part of it. Now, a lot of people are questioning what is going on with this U.S. visa thing, right? So could you go into that one as well?
Well, the U.S. visa is a program, and this is not the first time they have run the program. They ran the program before. A lot of people, didn't understand, but the program was run before. I think it's lasted probably about 6 months or so. It didn't last too long because they're going to. So what the U.S. realized is that, hey, we have a lot of folks, and I could tell you in my time, we used to go to the States, we got the visa, and we go to the States, and we just don't come back. So that means some of us overstay our time, let me call it that way.
Right.
And that's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. We know CARICOM residents, folks from different Caribbean countries is coming into Trinidad and Tobago, and they just don't go back.
Okay.
They stay here forever, and they get into the system, and they work undercover. Right.
Correct.
Right. So what happens is that the U.S. said to you, listen to me, there are countries in the Caribbean, and the list haven't come out as yet, right? So, but Trinidad and Tobago is low on that list.
I think it's 2.4%.
We are very low on that
I was
list.
wondering about
but there are
that.
countries like Haiti, Dominican Republic, and even Jamaica.
Yes.
They are high. There are folks who get a U.S. visa,
And
they
just-
like gold, and they go to the U.S. and they just don't come back.
Right.
And that is what the government said, hey, so you come in to get this U.S. visa, we're going to impose a bond. You're going to give us a bond, which is from $5,000 up to $15,000 based on the individual. Remember, this is on an individual basis. It's a country and individual. So it's two tiers going to be used, the country and the individual. And we're going to impose this bond on you. And for instance, now, you know when someone is overstayed the time and they have to find them, it costs money to find them.
Of course.
Right. And then when you find them now, you have to get them out
deport
because
them,
it
correct.
costs money to
Yes.
deport them because they say, I had no money. I broke. I had no money. But you want them to leave. So that's a cost. So what the government is trying to say, listen to me. you're going to put a bond. So if you default and you don't come back, I can now forfeit that bond now and use that now as a means of paying for your expenses.
Okay.
So basically that bond will be used, and the bond will be forfeited if you overstay your time. And it's just, again, it's just to encourage people to come to the States for business on your B1 or B2 visa. You come for business, you come for pleasure, spend your time, and please come back home. All right? That's all we're telling you. You go to the United States of America, you're going to enjoy yourself. You go to Vegas, you go to California, or you go to Miami and you do some shopping. Come back home and don't put it, because you're bringing hardship on the other individual or other resident of the country by you overstaying your time without permission.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing here is I think Peter pay for all things.
That's correct.
Yeah, and come on, guys. I want to go to the US and not have to pay $15,000. Not saying that we would end up on that list, but I would rather not, right? Thank you very much.
And again, I mean, and it could affect, I mean, if these things happen now, you can imagine business when you have to send, you have to go overseas to do business and you know what to pay.
And even the online shopping kind of thing, because I mean, all of that is important.
So it's important that we understand that when you go to the, they give you a visa for a single visit or multiple visits. Just obey the rules, come back into your country, don't overstay your time. You're having challenges abroad, you contact the High Commission or the embassies, and you can get in contact with any of the state officers and tell them your problem, right? I mean, I've been working in the US, I've been traveling up and down, and I understand the whole process. Because while working in the state, you will have a work visa, and then you will know, again, I understand the process. So when you go to work, because sometimes folks take the work visa and you just work and spend overtime. They don't come back.
Right.
And that's where the problem lies. So all we appealing to our citizens in Trinidad and Tobago, the US grant you a visa, obey the rules. That's all. Make it easy for everyone, because Peter paid for Paul, as you indicated early on, and we just don't want that scenario. We don't want to be on that list that's supposed to be coming out soon. We hope that we're not there, so that we don't have that force or that pressure to get fined. You know, it's a fine $5,000 to $10,000 to put as a bond.
Or from an individual, I mean, we could barely afford certain things right now. We only really want to put a $15,000 bond on us. Come on now.
Right.
Come on now. Right. So I want to get a little bit into the visa application process, because you said that, you know, we have to follow the rules of the visa when we're traveling. So in terms of the procedure and then heading to America, or well, we could get into the UK one afterward if you like, right? But for now, the US, right? And then coming back. How does one prevent these things from happening? Like, I apply for my visa. What type of visa should I apply to if I want to work? What type of visa should I apply for if I just want to visit? These type of things. You know, what are the factors in some of these visas that we should follow and then come back to the country on?
So you have the online process to do your visa now. Renewal was no more face-to-face. I could tell you years ago, when I used to be applying, I had to go down to Marley Street and line up there 4 o'clock in the morning to get my visa, right? I had to leave Tobago and you probably had to overnight. We used to have to pay, sometimes we pay somebody to hold a spot for you. That's how it used to be. So the US reaches a stage where we say, hey, guys, you're doing your renewal, stay home. Do everything online. And if we so desire, we will tell you come in and do a face-to-face.
Okay.
But I think now, they want to bring back face-to-face interview, where they will interview you and see and recognize it. And again, if you have ties in the US and stuff. But a lot of folks tend to do is hide things. So you have an auntie hiding somewhere in the States. So you have this one, and you don't want to put it on the paper. And that's where the problem lies. You have to tell the truth.
Right.
So you have a cousin, you know the cousin ain't too proper. So you ain't want to put the document there and say the cousin hiding away in New York, in Bronx, working for the last 10 years. But anytime we find out that you make mistakes or you lie on that form, you're going to be penalized.
Right.
And that's important. So when you're making up these applications, you have to tell the truth. The application sometimes goes down to your family history, where your brothers, where your sisters, where your siblings are. And you have to state the truth. Don't ever feel that you can lie to the US. Don't do that at all. Tell the truth. And then when you're granted your visa, now that doesn't say all is good and cherry, because when you reach Miami, the officer there could deny your entry, Yes, although you have your visa and you're going up merry and singing, and then after we discover that, hey, you lie on the thing or something popped up or have a red flag, or you're probably on a sanction list. Oh, you could be sanctioned too, That's one thing I want to tell you about just now. So you're on a sanction list. Boop. or your business that you're working for on a sanction list. It don't have to be you. It could be the business you're working for on the sanction list. And then, boop, that's it. Red flag, back down the road.
I want to throw in a question. So you said that, obviously individuals would have to be screened now. Well, it's being brought back for a face-to-face interview to be screened. I was told about a situation. I don't know how, I don't want to get too much into it, right? But I was told of a situation where one person would have liked to get their US visa. And it was going all well and good until someone called in and gave a bad report on the person to where they have to apply. And it caused her to lose the application all entirely. Like, we lose the whole opportunity of getting a visa. So how do you all now filter people who just doesn't want to see you having a US visa? I'll put it like that. How does
Well,
that happen?
again, it's the background checks will be done, and it's something that I do in my next cap. I put it out in my next company.
Right.
We do extensive background checks. We do forensic background checks on people,
Okay.
and that I go deep into your history. So you want to know all about your family. If anyone have been incarcerated, if you have ever been at the police station, what the reason you've been there for. If you have ever been to court, and what's the reason. So once the US have the back door to all these, especially if you're going to if you have a matter pending
Right.
in the local court or the high court. All of that could affect you with your visa. So if you had a criminal record, so you may not be convicted and you feel, well, yeah, good, I went and run away because you see that case, I can't handle that. The US will have access to that database and they will see that you have been there, or someone like us who do an investigation, we can call in and put, or if we know prior information of you trying to, run the country afoul, as the case may be. So it's important that you understand that. So everything just have to be correct. And you have to be up to par. You can't be not an outstanding citizen and try to fly to the US. No.
Right.
No, you definitely know you won't get the visa, and you know definitely that won't work. So all we just asking you, filling out the form, be truthful as possible.
Yes.
If you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. Right? There are things you probably wouldn't know, so you probably will leave that out. And then when they question you, you make sure you have the right answer for it. So go and seek the answer before you go to the interview and prepare yourself. It's not a tedious process. I think it's quite simple. The US do their background checks just like how we do. Very, very, very thorough background checks. And for all applications. And you have a visitor visa, you go up, you do your visit. If you're going on business, you indicate your business. So if you're going on business and you don't have no place to stay, what kind of business are you going to do?
Really and truly.
Yeah, understand? And people do reach in front the officers and say, so you will ask you, you on business? Yeah, so what hotel are you staying at? Oh, hotel? I said, you don't even know where you're going to.
Right.
You don't even have an invitation. You don't have nothing. And you say you're going on business. That don't make sense. And then if you're going on business now, what company you represent to
Right.
sponsor your hotel or sponsor your stay and all of that? Who's picking you up and all that? You don't know. Where is somebody? And those are things that will raise a red flag. So you have to be truthful and you have to be open. And you're going on business, you're going on business. You're going on pleasure, you're going on pleasure. You're on vacation, you're going on vacation. You're going and see auntie, you're going and see auntie. Where auntie lives? So. Where's auntie number? You give them the auntie number.
Right.
Sometimes they call auntie to verify.
I've been in that position before. Yeah.
They do call auntie to verify that
Yes.
the things you're saying is correct. Now, keep in mind that they are seeing all that they can see on that monitor, so you don't try to say nothing different. So they see when you came in before, how long you stayed, and all that information. So it's important that when we're doing these things, that we do the rightful thing. Youth, young people understand, do the right thing, and it shouldn't have any problem.
I was speaking to someone recently and they said that someone wanted to cross the border just by saying, I'm coming to babysit my aunt's children. And the person was, of course, deported. What is wrong with that statement?
Yeah, but when they were moving from Canada to the US, which one of the borders they were trying to go
I think they were, probably Canada to the US. I'm not sure where, but there was a border that they wanted to pass. I think it was it the UK border? I think it's the UK border. Let's go with the UK border.
But the UK, because the UK goes into, they have understanding with the EU, where they were able to move around, because the UK passport is a very strong passport.
Very.
So you can move around certain countries without a visa. They will still question you accordingly, but again, you can move without a visa, so you wouldn't have to go through that stringent measure. Same thing in the US. There are certain countries that you can move in the US without getting a visa, but they will still question you to find out, what is the reason and so forth and so forth. Again, it's all depend on the individual and the answers you give to that officer in front there. Because that officer have full authority to deny you travel.
Right.
Full authority. And when he denies you, you're going back. And if you have to fight that, you have to go to a court. It's a special court to fight that. You have to get an immigration lawyer and you have to pay a lot of money to deal with that. So why fight up with all of that instead of just telling the truth?
Yes.
And that would help you. So we want to talk about the sanctions.
Yes. I was just about to ask,
yes.
what does it mean for an individual who has been sanctioned, who is traveling to the US or the UK or somewhere that needs a visa to enter for port of entry?
Again, sanctions is something that have been there since the memorial. Sanctions have been there, and it's not something new. And so you have different sanctions lists, right? And folks who understand, the U.S. have varied sanction lists. The Security and Exchange Commission, you may be sanctioned there. Your business may be sanctioned there.
Okay.
Yes, that's like our stock exchange here. So do you have a U.S. Security and Exchange Commission? So the business may be sanctioned there. You might be sanctioned there. Yes, and the EU have a sanction list in the UK. The EU, the UK have a sanction list. United Nations have a sanction list as well. There are numerous sanction lists across the globe that a lot of us don't know about.
Right.
So when I'm doing investigation, I have to go through these sanction lists to make sure that you are who you are, especially when you're doing extensive background checks on companies or are doing it on individual.
Yes.
Because individual might be sanctioned and there is where the problem. Now, sanction is I'm telling you, hey, I don't like what you're doing. So the country who sanctioned you or the entity who that sanctioned you, I don't like what you're doing. I want you to change your behavior. That's basically what a sanction telling you to do, you know.
Okay.
Right? I don't like what you're doing and I want you to change that behavior.
So you're saying if I'm deported because of a sanction, it's because of whatever business or whatever I'm coming to do, the country does not approve of this behavior.
Right. The country don't like what your company have been doing. And they said, okay, we need you to come and change your behavior. And it might be something you're doing wrong. Like we were gray listed and blacklisted.
Yes.
All of those are sanctions, are means of sanction. So what we're telling like investment coming out of Africa, most of these companies in Africa, some of them are listed, listed sanctioned, yeah. They're gray listed because of the things they do. They don't do business as how the US may like them to do business.
Okay.
And the US will tell you, because you doing business with that African company, you can't do no business with me. So you understand now? So I'm not going to sanction the company. I said the company is already can't come in. So you decide to go and do business with the company. And I say, listen to me, I give you 10 days to wrap up all that you have doing with that company. Close it off. Otherwise than that, you lost your tie. So it may be a third party. So it don't have to be directly you. So for instance, like what Trump is telling the Indian prime minister, hey, you're taking Russia oil. So I
don't want to deal in it.
Right. So I want to squeeze Russia, but I can't do Russia anymore. So the secondary sanction I'm going to put on Russia now is to say, oh, India, you buying oil from Russia. Use the big ones, you're one of them big, so that's how they gain some money. So it happened. You want to do business with the US? You got to stop taking oil from Russia. It's how easy it is. And that is what happened. And there's an easy explanation I can give so that you can understand it. And that's the way you can move around things. And countries do that all the time. These things going on. That list is a list that is moving. It's a living list. You do go up and you do come off.
Okay.
Individual do go up and individual do come off those lists. So it's something that you have to be monitoring all the time. Sanction lists across the globe. It's something that you have to keep monitoring because you do come up and do. So you pop up a red flag is, boom, and your name. And there's the next thing too. You may have the same name as someone, and you're going up. Yes, then they ask you for secondary means of identification. So your passport may be there. Yes, I said, do you have any other form of identification? And that happened to me already. Because down here, as again, you could take out state on someone who wants to do business. So I stop you and say, you can't do no business. So I go to the court and I take out this stay and say, no, you can't do business. And it happened as the guy had the same name as me. So I was trying to transfer property and I couldn't get the property transferred.
Right.
And I wondered, well, why I can't get it? So the High Court could take out the states. Come again, same thing. And I was to prove that I am Curtis Williams.
Right. You are the Curtis Williams. That is not this other person. That is not this other person. Have the same name, same date of birth.
Yes. Same date of birth. Yes.
Wow.
So I have to prove that I'm not this person. So I have to bring proof that I'm living in Tobago and order additional proof. The proof to the attorney and then to prove to them that, hey, the bank, that, hey, this guy is really Curtis from Tobago,
Yes.
that living in Scarborough and all that good stuff. So these are things that we ought to know going forward.
I think we really should. It's been a very good educational journey in this one little session. And I know it's a lot of information that our viewers may have taken in. But, you know, we can always bring Mr. Curtis back. You know, I'm just throwing that out to him one time. He's smiling, so I think that's an approval. That's a yes. He agrees, right? So, Mr. Williams, I just want to thank you so much for joining us here this morning and sharing this piece of information with us, or these pieces of information with us. Right, before we go, of course, we know that the UK also wants to put visas into the system for Trinidad and Tobagonians to go to the UK. What do you think about that? And what is your advice to Trinbagonians who may be falling on the bad side of things, meaning they were the reason for this visa implication?
Well, coming out from the information from the UK High Commission is that there are folks from Trinidad and Tobago was going up to the UK and seeking asylum.
Right.
There are a lot of them. You know, you could see, because I think the UK signed on to an agreement that they reached the UK and said, oh, I declare I want to seek asylum. And then they put you into a program.
There's actually a list there.
Yeah. They put you into a program and you go through the program for, I think, a period of 5 years. They put you up, you can't do certain things, you can't do certain things. But whilst you're in that program, the UK had to pay.
Right.
Oh yeah, I have to mind you for the period of time until everything is completed, and it's a cost to the country. Because there are folks who came here and do the same thing. They want to seek, and then they have different agencies that have to take care of you and so forth. So the UK find that number had been going up, and they said, okay, fine. We want to impose some kind of restriction. I like the word restriction. I didn't want to call it a visa. A restriction on resident, on visitors coming to the UK. Yes, it affects business. It affects a lot of us, especially in business, the business community. It affects us. We can't just send our workers as we want to. Even when we want to go, we definitely have to get this visa. The visa have a cost to it and so forth. There's an application process, timing, etc. And we could see the numbers of visitors did drop. Folks who go into the UK. And we're still in conversation with the High Commissioner to see if he could relax that. Again, that's a sanctions, that's a change behavior. So yes, they put the visa restriction on us, but we could continue at our level of the Foreign Affairs to continue having conversation with the High Commissioner office and the UK to persuade them that, hey, we were like that before, we no longer like that. Can you look at the statistics for the last 6 months or the last year? Have you seen the number drop drastically? No one is coming to seek asylum anymore. Please move the restriction, and they could lift the restriction.
All right.
So that's the conversation we're having with the UK.
So we're hoping that, you know, we stay within that desired number, if that is the way, that the strategy that we are choosing to face the High Commission with. You know, a lot of us, we love the travel between the UK and Trinidad and Tobago. Stop it. Thank you. Right. But Mr. Williams, I want to thank you so much for joining us here this morning on Youth Wednesdays and Tobago Updates. I think it was a very youthful discussion. I asked on your behalf that Mr. Curtis brings it right down to a level that we understand, you know, what the sanctions are about, the visas are about, especially this bond that has now been put in the air, maybe to be invoked on us. Right. So, you know, I just want to thank you for that, especially for breaking it down for us, breaking it down for me personally as well, right? So once again, Mr. Williams, have a good day. And I just want to practice this president, you see, because they gave me the wrong information, right? So you tell me and I will repeat it.
So I'm the chairman of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
So you are the president, the chairman
of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
He is the chairman of the
Tobago division
of the Trinidad and Tobago
Chamber
of Industry and Commerce. I'll take that one. I need to be paid extra for that one. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Williams, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, before I go, I just want to encourage you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back. That was really good. Thank you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam. You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's with 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Na 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 na. One active, bad brother Nika, you're Rico Dan. In a real life, the work of a put in, no watch ya, yeah, put in work, gas you the go vice.
Welcome back to Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. We have our next guest in studio, a special guest. It's Bad Bobo, and he's here to talk about his involvement in the Tobago Carnival.
Good morning. I'll be joining Vanessa on this interview this morning. We are very much excited to hear about the new music that has entered our space. I know we are very much acquainted with who we have now, but Bad Bobo is something new for us to listen to his music. I mean, Renessa would have mentioned who his father is. Now, we don't want to give too much tribute to the father this morning. Renessa and I even sang this song before we started the interview to hype ourselves up, right? But we want to talk about Bad Bobo this morning. So we just want to invite him, virtually, to set this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Blessed morning.
Welcome to Tobago Updates. And before we start on our interview, we just want to find out what's the inspiration behind the name Bad Bobo.
Well, this name was given to a friend, and remember, in all musical career that anybody have, it's a character they're playing, right? So
Okay.
that's my name for my character that I'm playing a part of.
All right. Okay, so in addition to what Renessa just asked about, your what word did you use? It's out of my mind right now. What inspired you to get into the musical industry? Because your
Well,
father is there, but what was your
yes, which is
inspiration to start on music?
one of my number one inspirations also. And remember, we got other individuals and peers that around us that I grew up in a musical background. So there's a lot of inspirations that kept me going to sing music and things that I see happen in the world. Yeah. So a lot of things is there that inspire me to do music right now, and a lot of people.
Okay, so the specific genre that you've chosen is soca. Well, obviously we're hearing the Jamaican accent coming out fully. So what inspired you
Right.
to go into soca music?
Well, being honest right now, I don't know, but it's from I was a kid. That carnival rhythm, that soca rhythm always give me a buzz. Like it always inspire me to come to Trinidad. So I think it's from I was a kid doing music about around the age of 14. Yeah. And up till now, it still inspire me being here in Trinidad right now. you know? Yeah, so it's like a dream come true for me.
And you
Okay.
have a new upcoming track called It's a Carnival. And you are going to be here for the Tobago Carnival. Is this one of your singles that we can expect to hear?
Right. And that single will be releasing this month, the end of this month. And saying this, I have to big up the MVP MAS band. I'll be performing with them in October. And blessings to Shorty. Yeah, blessings to Shorty in Trinidad, Shorty's bar. We have events that's coming up. Prepare to give a lot of energy. And also here in Trinidad too. And there's a lot more coming from Bad Bobo.
So you were here promoting in July. Can you tell us what your experience was like, experience the island of Tobago?
Yes, it was a very great experience. I've turned out at radio stations, 2 radio stations, and I've established the music that's about to release. It's a carnival, other music so forth. And as I said, it's a very nice experience being in Tobago. And I want them to look forward to see Bad Bobo come in to give them a lot of joy in the music.
All right. So Aside from It's a Carnival, I know that, normally artists would give us back to back to back. So is there anything else we can expect from Bad Bobo?
Right, we have new music coming out. New music out. It's called Them Evil. It's out now on all platforms. And we have new music coming out called Determination. Mommy have happy, daddy have happy. I think you guys have that one. And it's a lot more. I have one more carnival song coming out also. So I've been just working on to stay focused on the main topic. Because I'm in Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Okay. So before we go, Bad Bobo, I want you to give the updates viewers, that is the Tobago updates viewers, a little taste of what they could hear in October Carnival. So I'm going to hand it over to you, your stage, your a cappella. Go through, give us a little something before October Carnival.
All right, and it goes like this for everyone that's listening. This is Bad Bobo, and blessings to Morning Time TV in Tobago. Again, listen out. It's a carnival, yeah. Yes, you're and a guan. And that turn me on, me girl, a carnival, yeah. It's a carnival. Wine like carnival. Girl, your body soft, you look like Barbie doll. Good girl, you in a horse, you're no animal. And the wine where you give me, it's so phenomenal. Yeah, wine like carnival. Look out, that's Bad Bobo.
And thank you so much for that rendition. We look forward to seeing you for Tobago Carnival. And before we close, we just want to thank you once more again for joining us all the way from Jamaica. And we hope you have a great day. And let's not forget to share the live, share the live,
right.
Share the live.
Right.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Centre has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I be cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me picnic them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trey Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people, them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trey Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back. We are here with Miss Raynell Clark. We are here to talk about the Ancestral Walk 2025. She's the Communications Officer of the Ancestral Walk Committee. Good morning, Miss Clark, and thank you for coming here this morning.
Good morning, Ms. Ortiz. Thank you very much for having me and having the St. Patrick Parish once again on the Tobago Updates morning show.
So this year marks the 23rd annual Ancestral Walk. Can you tell us how this tradition first began?
No, because some things remain where they are in history, but I can't tell you about the walk itself. So about 23 years ago, around 2002, a small group of parishioners at the St. Patrick Parish, including Brother Harrison Thomas and the now Bishop of the Anglican Church, Claude Berkeley, who was parish priest at the time, conceptualized the Ancestral Walk. That is the St. Patrick Parish's way of celebrating the legacy of our ancestors. We always boast that our church has a rich cultural legacy because it is actually the oldest church on the island that stands in its original form. It was consecrated 182 years ago, and it was built by the hands of our ancestors. So the Ancestral Walk is the reenactment and commemoration of that journey, because they took the bricks from Mount Irving Bay At that time, that was the time of the plantocracy. So merchant ships would come from Britain to the Caribbean, but they'd come empty. So in order to make sure they're steady on the water, ballast bricks would be used to anchor them on the water. So once they got to where they were going, those bricks were offloaded and could have been discarded. But in our case, those bricks were toted by enslaved people and completed by freed people because it was consecrated in 1843. And of course, the apprenticeship period ended in 1838. So enslaved people, then freed people, toted these bricks from Mount Irving Bay, then Little Corland Bay for historians, up to the site at Mount Pleasant to build the church.
And it's so important that we honor our ancestry so we have an idea of where we have come from so that we can learn from the past and do better in the present and moving forward in the future. I know you mentioned Mount Irving is where they came in with the ballast blocks and stuff. And on the flyer here, I'm seeing that you are assembling at Mount Irving Beach. Can you give us a bit of information of what our patrons can expect when they come out to view this walk and be a part of this experience?
Yes, I'm smiling because I'm getting excited already. It's usually a very exciting experience. It starts at Mount Irving Bay, as it said, at the seaside. We encourage people to assemble there. You don't have to, if you want, you can park at the church at Mount Pleasant. There's a shuttle from 5:30, 5:45 as well that will take you to the beach. We assemble, we have a reenactment, a little pirogue comes in, we offload the bricks, there's a proclamation that's read, then we begin the walk to the sound of tambourine music, gospel music, and have a great time along that, is that still Shervan Road along that way? But from Mount Irving up to the church.
Right, and one of the emotional highlights, especially reading through the flyer that you have here, is the wreath laying ceremony on the graves of 3 notable ancestors. Can you share a bit about who these ancestors are and what they represent for the community?
So I'll tell you about one of them, most notably Miss Jane Lovell. She is who we recognize as the named ancestor, one of the last named ancestors to have laid bricks up at the site of the church. So there are 2 others, but we allow people to come and learn the history. We don't want to give everything away, then you don't have to come. But Miss Jane Lovell is one of those ancestors upon whose grave we'll be laying a wreath.
Awesome. So beyond the walk, there's a cultural program, and I know that's the reenactment and the music and the playing. How does all of this tie into the ancestral walk? What does each of these things mean? What do they symbolize?
Okay, good. So the reenactment happens only at the seaside. We walk up, and when we get to the church, the cultural program is actually a mini concert. It's separate and apart from what happens at the beach. Now, we acknowledge that the Tobago Heritage Festival has officially ended. However, the legacy of our ancestors live on. The theme of the Ancestral Walk this year is building upon our ancestors' sweat and tears, a St. Patrick legacy. So up at the church, you're going to experience calypso music. You're going to experience African drumming and dancing. You're going to experience a lecture by one of Tobago's, because she doesn't even belong to the Anglican Church, Miss Christelle Washington. She's coming to deliver a lecture for us on the theme, building on our ancestors' sweat and tears, a St. Patrick legacy. So what happens up at the church, that cultural program, is our heritage presentation continued. Obviously, it starts at Mount Irving Bay at 6 a.m.
And in Tobago, we have such rich cultural heritage that a lot of the times we here don't even appreciate, and sometimes we lack the knowledge on it. So it's amazing that we have persons who are knowledgeable about our heritage coming to give us the information, so we are more we have that idea of where we've come from, so we can have that appreciation. You mentioned that they started in 2002. I was just 2 years old. So these are things that I would not be privy to, but it's always amazing to have that opportunity to learn about my past and my heritage. Now I'm seeing here we have dirt oven bread. Can you give us a bit of expansion on this? How did this come about to be a whole part of the experience?
Well, we are fortunate to be a church that has a dirt oven on our site. So we often have dirt oven bake sales. Shout out to our St. Patrick Parish adult nurturers. They have periodic bake sales where you can receive your dirt oven bread hot on the spot, sweet bread, coconut drops. So as is the norm with St. Patrick Parish events, they will be baking and we'll have those on sale. We also have delicious breakfast. You could have your saltfish, bulgjal with coconut bake or fried fish with coconut bake at a cost of only $30. Also steaming hot, well seasoned, rich and creamy Tobago chocolate tea. Not chocolate tea, not hot cocoa. Tobago chocolate tea will be on sale at the Ancestral Walk. Also oil dung, just acknowledging the foods that we inherited. So persons can come up to the site, get the oil dung, get the dasheen bush soup. If you don't feel for the flour of the bacon bulgjal, that's fine. There is something for everybody.
Great, awesome. I saw that you also have a wellness booth this year. Can you expand on why it was important to include that into this year's program?
Okay, so wellness is very important because without good health, you don't have long life. And our ancestors didn't just labor, work hard, eat what they could eat for us to continue to do the same thing. So we are encouraging our church members, encouraging our community members to eat well. We have a couple of doctors who will be on site. We have a bush specialist, and what I mean by a bush specialist is that person who knows every bush in the yard, what it is good for. So we are going to have him on site who will be demonstrating for us, advising people, you have this, that, and the other. He's not a naturopathic doctor, but he could tell you some good bush to drink. We also have some doctors who are, she explained to me, they are starting their own clinic. So they're encouraging people to come into somewhat of a focus group where they'll monitor them for a number of months. So they will be there sharing information on their work, also checking blood pressure, people's vitals, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm happy that you mentioned the bush doctor, because I was going to ask you, since you're highlighting our ancestry, it's important that you include a herbalist, someone who knows about all the bush, the wonder of the world, the vine, all of these things to ensure it's like a full package.
Yes.
And we just want to thank you so much for joining us this morning and highlighting everything about this ancestral walk. But before we go, I just want you to give us the time, the date, and what our viewers can do if they want to be a part of this walk.
Okay, which camera do I look in? Here? Okay, so the St. Patrick Parish in the Anglican Church in the Diocese of Trinidad and Tobago. Just a note, the St. Patrick Parish comprises 4 churches. We are in Bonaccord, Lambo, Patience Hill, and Mount Pleasant, where we'll be this Saturday. The walk begins at 6 a.m. We assemble at the Mount Irving Bay. Again, there will be shuttles from the church at 5:30 and 5:45. We then reenact the removal of the bricks from the ship and we make our way up to the church at St. Patrick. Never fear, if you've parked at Mount Irving, the shuttle will carry you back for your car, so you can come up to the church, have your breakfast, your saltfish bulgjal, your fried fish coconut bake, your chocolate tea. You can have your oil down. Come and enjoy the cultural program and our lecture from a Tobago luminary, Dr. Christelle Washington.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clark, for coming again to share about the Ancestral Walk 2025. To our viewers, up next, it's GMT with Chanel Felix. And before I go, I just want to remind you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
My name is Giselle Gittins-Peters, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Tobago Regional Health Authority's Internship Program. Extremely pleased to bring warm greetings and officially welcome you to our year 2025. As part of its corporate social responsibility, the Tobago Regional Health Authority, under our health and our board of directors, would have taken a decision in 2023 to host our first internship program. This is our 3rd year. You are our third year. You are part of this hat-trick experience that we are calling Internship 2025. Did I mention that we are happy to have you? Yes. Yes, we are.
It is true to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the Tobago Regional Health Authority's third edition of its internship program for 2025. So interns, congratulations. Today you take the first step not only into the world of work, but also into your own leadership journey. Empowering our youth to be future leaders speaks directly to your presence here. You are not just trainees. You are tomorrow's innovators, tomorrow's decision makers, and its change agents.
The theme of this year's internship, Empowering Our Youth to Become Future Leaders, is a true reflection of our commitment at the authority to provide avenues for our youth to be exposed to the dynamic field that is healthcare. We believe that it is our responsibility to broaden public understanding of what healthcare truly entails.
No one is here to hand you an opportunity. Whether you like it or not, life is a competition. You are competing amongst the best of the best to excel in this life. No one's here to feel sorry for you. I'm gonna be point blank with you. You need to excel and go above and beyond for what you want in this life.
Overall, the internship taught me way more than just how to do a job, because if I be honest at all, I was just studying in the morning. I had to be honest. It gave me real world experience because I was extremely naive as to how the real world was coming out of sixth form. I only did sixth form to honestly get away from the real world. I'll always be thankful for the people that I met in the internship, the lessons I learned, and the memories I made.
It's really, really good being here this morning as we welcome you to this TRHA internship program. Yes, it is something that started a couple years ago, and we did it because we are investing in something that is far bigger than just training. Yeah? We are doing something today that is way bigger than just an orientation. What we're doing right now is investing in the future of healthcare in Tobago. What the Tobago Regional Health Authority is doing right now is investing in every single one of you.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawn.
back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Update. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has prevailed in a 16-year land dispute after the UK-based Privy Council ruled in his favour and reinstated a High Court decision that had been overturned by the local Court of Appeal. The case involved a disagreement over land sold at Tobago's Alma estate. The Privy Council found that the appellate judge wrongly replaced Justice Nadine Kangaloo's factual findings with their own. It ruled that the land sale of the gifts was clearly subject to resurvey, validating Rowley's claim to over 85 acres promised since 1975. Additionally, Police Commissioner Alistair Guerrero has defended the actions of the Trinidad and Tobago Police amid criticisms from the Police Complaints Authority over the recent fatal shooting during a state of emergency. Responding to the Police Concerns Authority, Director David West's concern, Guerrero questioned the agency's silence during the 2024 record 624 murders. He insisted that the TTPS remains committed to transparency and that all police-involved shootings are independently reviewed. Emphasizing public safety, Guerrero said the police will continue to act lawfully to protect citizens. Since July 18th, 6 men have been fatally shot by police in separate incidences. And finally, 2 major investigations in Tobago have seen developments, one related to a violent supermarket robbery and the other to a recent murder. Cody Kajo, 28, of Beetham Gardens, was charged with the robbery with violence following a supermarket heist in Scarborough on June 30th. He received $250,000 bail and must follow strict reporting curfew conditions. 6 men reportedly attacked 3 people and escaped with $200,000 and US $15,000. Kajo was arrested in Trinidad. Investigations to locate the others continue. Meanwhile, in the murder of Trevor Walker, 22, police released 1 suspect and expect to charge another. Walker was ambushed and killed in Mariah on July 29th in what police believe to be a personal dispute. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Now, this morning we're talking about a topic that is quite prevalent in recent time as it pertains to headlines related to an employee of the TRHA. This morning I have the privilege of sitting and chatting here in studio with former Labour Secretary who holds an MBA in HR management. He was also a trade union representative for 40 years and advocated at the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago. He's currently an industrial relations consultant by profession, and you have been involved in writing several collective representation agreements for the PSA. Bargaining agreements. But good morning to you, Mr. James, and welcome to Tobago Update. You know, Mr. Max James, you are no stranger to the set here. You know, we're often chatting on a number of different topics. But this morning we are chatting on this particular topic of this, a bit of a controversy, we might want to call this one, where current employee of the TRHA has been charged for sexual misconduct in the workplace. Good morning again. And, you know, give us a little bit of a background on why key principles of industrial relations come into play in this particular situation.
Well, good morning to you, and thank you for having me. I was joking to your producer, and he called me for the bacchanal stories. Anyhow, so yes, it's indeed a very serious matter that appears to have occurred. We don't know the facts. I wasn't there. You weren't there. But from all the reports, what we have heard from, apparently from the child and his mother, it appears that something very serious of what we call moral turpitude, meaning something very wrong and gross behaviors not in keeping with standards in the workplace, criminal acts, those kinds of things. Moral turpitude meaning something that is grossly wrong. All right. So the question is, if you put the question out there for a legal interpretation, and when you look at the web in terms of all the information that is there from a legal perspective, so I asked the question, can an employee be dismissed for indecent exposure to a minor? So I want to discuss it very broadly without referring to the persons involved in the matter, but from a policy standpoint and how we could treat with that going forward.
Right, and I would allow you to do that, but before we get into that, for the persons who are listening, who are totally lost and not sure what we're talking about, give them a bit of a background on one of the current or recent situations that took place as it pertained to the Children's Authority Chairman, Hanif Benjamin. And then you can go into your general statements.
Well, I thought that was the job of you.
No. There are persons who are unaware, and even in this particular situation, we had a situation where the chairman of the Children's Authority had been found in a compromising position as it pertains to one of his clients. But, for the persons who are not aware, you could give them a little bit of a background on that.
Well, I'll do it, but again, I thought that was a job for the station. However, what is out there is that this particular individual whose professional help was sought by the mother of a minor did indeed, from that report. So let me just retract the words did indeed. It appears from the reports that this particular individual exposed himself to a minor whose mother was in fact seeking professional help for her child.
Right.
Go ahead. The young man, or the minor, was so distraught that he complained to his mother, and then apparently from the report, the act was repeated. And of course, from there on, the matter escalated into the public. A report was made, and it appears to date, the particular employee is still within the employ of the Tobago House of Assembly, in particular, the Tobago Regional Health Authority. So we could discuss it from there.
Right. But even as the situation unfolded, we saw a situation where even before the police got involved, that this particular individual would have written a letter to the mother of the young boy, apologizing profusely for his behavior. But, there are persons in the public domain saying, how does one make a mistake where they repeatedly expose themselves to a minor?
Certainly, it is not a mistake. And it is something that, we'll address that in the meat of the discussion as to whether it's a case that involves summary dismissal, suspension, and a criminal charge in a court of law. All right. So here is what the law says. And the answer arises from the question, can an employee be dismissed for indecent exposure to a minor? So it's a bit, maybe a 2-minute read. But for the benefit of the population, we need to look at what the law says, and we go into the industrial relations aspect of it. So the answer is yes, an employee can be, and they use the word can, right? Be dismissed for indecent exposure to a minor. And in most jurisdictions, including Trinidad and Tobago, such conduct would almost certainly justify summary dismissal. And that is termination without notice. especially if the employer can establish that 1, the conduct occurred, it is criminal or grossly immoral, and 3, it damages the trust, and that's the critical part, the trust and reputation necessary for the employment relationship. We'll get into that a little bit more. Why this conduct justifies dismissal? 1, criminal nature. Indecent exposure to a minor is a serious criminal offense under the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, likely to fall under provisions of the Children's Act, Chapter 4601, and possibly the Sexual Offences Act, Chapter 1128. Even allegations of such conduct may be grounds for suspension pending investigation. A conviction would make continued employment untenable or impossible or unlikely. Moral turpitude, we used the term before, and moral turpitude has to do with morality, has to do with crime, it has to do with things that are anathema to good behavior in the workplace, things that are just plain wrong in principle and in law and in act, and that kind of thing. Indecent exposure to a child is a textbook example of moral turpitude. And for the people out there, moral turpitude again is where things violate core social standards of decency and legality. All right? In employment law, such conduct is often treated as gross misconduct, especially where the employee or the person who would have carried out the act against the minor is in a position of trust, such as a teacher, a coach, as apparently the employee is, healthcare worker, or public servant. And this is critical here for the assembly. Employer reputation and risk. Employers, especially in education, childcare, government, and healthcare, have a duty to maintain public trust and safety. Failure to act against such misconduct could expose the employer to civil liability, public backlash, or reputational damage. The Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago, and this is what the Industrial Court says, the employer must follow good industrial relations practices, including conducting a proper investigation, giving the employee a chance to respond to allegations, documenting the basis for the dismissal. The Industrial Court recognizes that some acts are so serious, example, crimes against children, that dismissal may be immediate without progressive discipline. And progressive discipline means where you go through certain steps towards final termination, as the case may be, right? So, what can be the employer's response? It may suspend that person pending the outcome of the criminal case. If internal investigations or public records confirm the act occurred, that can be grounds for termination, citing moral turpitude and reputational harm. So let's get into the meat of the discussion here.
About the dismissal.
About the dismissal. If I were the head of that particular division, I would have had him dismissed already. When we talk about reputation and trust in an employment law, if that there's what you call several areas of contract, and where an employee has contracted to work with an employer, the question of emotional contract and trust where that has occurred has been breached, then that will be grounds for suspension or immediate, as perhaps as the case before us, it appears that gross misconduct has occurred, and it will, the employer, in this case, the TRHA / the Secretary of of Health and the Executive Council, because there is a question of social trust, there's a question of reputation, and it appears by their very silence, they are writing an official, and which can perhaps become official policy, because silences can be interpreted to mean acquiescence. Silence can be interpreted that this is our position on these matters. We're not going to do anything. Silence on the matter where the top officials in the Division of Health and Social Services, you are now writing a policy, a new policy based on your silence and indicating to the public that these things are okay or all right, as we say in local parlance. And that is not all right. It involves a situation where it is becoming the more normal, has become the norm in our society, where people trade their sexual organs for different sexual organs. And it appears that a man might be able to instead of having the I'm speaking here from my heart, the satisfaction of a woman, now trades that satisfaction for satisfaction with a man.
Understood. And, let's talk a little bit about the lack of a release from the Division of Health and Social Wellness.
It's unfortunate, and it has even become more unfortunate where, because of the kinds of allegations involved top officials in the Division of Health, where people are saying, well, they're not going to do anything, just look at the top officials. The kinds of things that are said in the society, the butt of jokes, organizational things that come out from within the organization regarding the top officials, and even the top officials in the THA. And they don't say anything. So it makes you believe that these allegations or these kinds of things are true. Because you're perhaps immobilized in the assembly because your top officials, it is alleged, are involved in those kinds of behaviors.
But even as it pertains to, the professional functioning of Mr. Benjamin within the division, outside of top officials, we're talking about, even simply the department that he leads, getting a release from them as it pertains to at least, stating that they do not support the type of behaviors that were reported.
And
this is something that the public looks forward to, completely distancing themselves from the allegations and ensuring that public confidence in the services provided by the division, specifically the department, that you pay close attention to ensuring that you manage the communication surrounding that. And we haven't seen that.
And that is the job, and this is what in the release, the law that I just read and the principles there is saying. We're talking about reputational damage, we're talking about societal backlash. We're talking about, is either we agree that these things are okay, or we don't agree that those kinds of behaviors are okay. The laws of this country certainly says those things aren't okay. All right? And it is that we are sworn to uphold the law and the Constitution as a secretary and a chief secretary. And we have not heard anything from the chief secretary. We have not heard anything from the Secretary for Health and Social Services. And I'm saying their silence can be interpreted as being very suspicious in terms of where they stand on those matters. They need to come out and say very unambiguously what their position is on those kinds of behaviors. And because it's at the end of the day, it is they who set the policy. They who set the policy for good governance in the assembly and in Tobago. And they have a moral and political socio-political and moral responsibility to set the tone.
Right.
And they haven't done so. And their silence speaks volumes on it. And if the board, who is headed by a particular attorney, and the board of directors have not said anything about it, then we have to wonder where we are going. If he's employed with the TRH, I think it is. Is he employed with the TRH?
Yes.
Well, certainly. And therefore, nobody's talking about these kinds of things. And once you allow that kind of behavior or that kind of attitude or silence to become embedded in the psyche of our workers and the society, it is saying to us that that is okay and it is not okay.
Right. But what if there's a situation taking place where the THA has sought legal advice on his employment contract and they have been advised to deal with the matter privately? How does one respond to something like that?
Well, you see, in the first place, it can't be dealt privately because we are talking about public service. It has to be dealt with publicly. We are currently a public service. So we can't hide and say, well, you know, look at who it is, but look at the damage done to the child. Which one is more important? Dealing with a professional in a private way? It has to be done publicly. And that's the point I'm making. We are talking about good public policy. The execution of good public policy. And we have to understand that these public officials must set the tone by their own personal and individual behaviors and in the setting of good public policy over and within the divisions which they have control of. And again, I will repeat it. If it is that in their own personal lives that some things are suspicious, it embeds further in the public mind that their kinds of behaviors are totally out of hand, are totally unacceptable, and the things that we hear in the society might in fact be true. And that is significant cause for concern. We cannot have senior political operatives operating in our society who might condone or seem to be condoning those kinds of behaviors. It is utterly repugnant.
Understand.
Now, so let's come to the question of trust. Let's come to the organizational, the trust between an employer and an employee. It is shattered from what we have heard. I don't know what is in his contract of employment. I would like to see it. But in any form or fashion, in any way, the laws of this country and the case precedents that exist would support definitely termination of employment. In any case, that individual, his own reputation, his professional reputation is shattered. I would not certainly recommend any of my relatives or anybody to go and stand before that particular person and say, I come for help, because you don't know what is going to happen. In any event, the chief secretary and the secretary of health need to say, or the chairman of the board of directors need to say, we have launched, even in the minimum, we have launched an investigation into these allegations, apart from what the police is doing. It does not stop the division at all from carrying out its own internal investigation into the matter. It is too long, it is inordinate, it is unprofessional, it is anti-public trust, and all of those kinds of things. And I think that if the chief secretary, if the secretary of health and the chairman of the board of directors are not acting, they should resign. This is a very serious, you talk about the destruction of a destruction of a minor, of somebody maybe for life, who might turn out to be a social misfit, and you are not saying anything about it and waiting at the police. You have a public duty to deal with this matter, and swiftly.
All right. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back as we continue our discussion on this particular topic. So see you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to I beat and roll, we beat and roll, I beat and roll, we beat and roll. When the spirit hit me, I beat and roll. When the spirit hit me, I beat and roll. What to do? Let us see how stick you could get. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could. See how stick you could. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could get. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could. See how stick you could. See how stick you could get. Wet me down, 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 wet me down. Right now I overeat it. Wet me down, 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 wet me down. Right now I over. Obvio.
10 bottle of rum. DJ start the thing, let me come. Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man. DJ start the thing, let me ramage. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, hey, hey. Take out your flag and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up. Fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, hey, hey. Start to jump up and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Biz. We continue our conversation this morning with Mr. Max James. Good morning and welcome back.
Thank
So we
you.
have been talking
Yes.
about the situation that has unfolded recently, with the charging of Mr. Hanif Benjamin, who is the former chairman of the Children's Authority, and how that impacts public trust on the department at the TRHA, how it impacts employee-employer relationships, and how it impacts even the relationship between employees within that department. How uncomfortable of a conversation might that be? Is he even back at work or not? So these are the questions that are being asked. But before we get into it, let's look at some comments that came from the former Gender and Child Affairs Minister, Ayanna Webster-Roy. So she stated that it is deeply troubling when anyone entrusted with the care and protection of the nation's children is accused of sexual misconduct. Webster-Roy went on to commend the minor and his parents for coming forward while acknowledging that the matter is now before the courts and due process must be allowed without interference. However, as a society, we must remain focused on larger issues like protecting children, supporting survivors, and ensuring that individuals in positions of authority are held to the highest ethical standards.
Exactly. And I commend the former minister for that statement. And we all have young children. And as I said earlier, it depends on how we want our society to be ordered. It is not only, I want to reiterate for the benefit for persons who are watching the program, let us not hide behind legalities and technicalities. That is what's going on here. While you might continue to unleash an evil spirit on the society, it is an evil spirit. You see, while we continue perhaps to unleash those kinds of characters on our young and unsuspecting children, you've been placed in a position of trust. And I'm again calling upon the Chief Secretary and the Secretary for Health in particular and the chairman of the board of directors of the TRHA to make a statement. It is not for the courts only. So we have that element of it. But we also, the court, the fact that he might be charged and is before the court does not circumscribe the division from acting properly against acts of moral turpitude. And we explain what moral turpitude is, those kinds of misdeeds, bad behavior in the workplace that affect the trust and the proper functioning of the particular division or organization. And the case law, just to repeat for those who feel, let us wait on the court. No. The division has a duty to act internally, particularly where people have to access the services of the particular division. How do people feel going or presenting themselves before such an individual? That's the key.
Not even just the individual, the entire
Well,
department.
even the entire department.
Because it calls into question the morality and the ethics of everyone within that department.
Hypocrites is the word that we use around the table, and it's perhaps being highly hypocritical. But it's a failure of the heads of Tobago House of Assembly who seem immobilized or strangled or handcuffed from acting. And again, I question, without fear or favor, if it is that their own personal lives are compromised, then it'll be very difficult for them to take a decision and to hide behind a technical or legal and say, listen, let us wait on the outcome of the court. In the meantime, lives can be damaged. It means the reputation of the Tobago House of Assembly is in jeopardy.
Not only the Tobago House of Assembly,
And
but the Department of Social Protection.
More specifically, of course,
right,
the reputation is damaged.
We have a situation where Mr. Hanif Benjamin is the director of the Social Protection Department. And under that department are a number of services that persons access.
Well, the public officers can't speak out, right? So it falls to the board of directors, if that is where it falls, or it falls to the secretary and the administrator.
Right. But what I was
and
about
of course
to say
the executive
is in
council
situations like this,
our cabinet here in Tobago. Right. So nobody is saying anything, and that now becomes an unwritten policy that it becomes all right, and we will wait until these things play out, which can take years.
Right. But what I was about to say is that in situations like this, you may see persons coming out who access other services that are, very confidential in nature. Sometimes we say very touchy subjects, whether it be co-parenting, marriage counseling, personal, matters that they come for. A lot of persons take their children to the social protection unit to get guidance. So when you hear of a situation where the director of the department has been accused of these things and has not been dismissed, or no public statement has been made by the division or the department, distancing themselves from the behavior, this can also affect other persons' confidence in accessing any service at all.
So who is going to go to that division if the air is not cleared? Who is going to feel safe to access any of these services? And this morning, this is a very important matter for Tobagonians. We are largely a Christian society. We are largely a highly moral society. And I'm calling on the Chief Secretary this morning to tell us what he thinks about homosexuality. I'm calling on the Secretary for Health what she thinks about homosexuality, because it involves homosexual acts or possible homosexual acts. for these acts to occur. Once we begin to talk inclusivity and diversity and all those pretty faces that people who are involved in those kinds of behaviors write and put in the books, because they want to carry their nefarious acts on suspecting children and then talk about inclusivity and diversity. What nonsense is that?
Well, that is...
Doesn't say so.
Well, first of all, I see that we have some responses on our social media stating that there's no audio. I want to ensure that you, our viewing audience, you can hear us at this time. So I will allow my directors in the back to let me know that they are hearing us. Again, guys, let us know if you are hearing us. Excellent. Well, we're going to continue our conversation.
And so you raised the point of inclusivity and diversity. And where people who are senior public officials and academics write these things into our society and our laws and our rules and principles to, in fact, give space for their own misbehaviors and filthy acts upon unsuspecting children in our society. We have to decide what kind of society we want. And so when I don't want to hear anything about diversity and inclusivity, it's a spiritual and moral wicked spirit that has crept into our own society that try to make these things sound all right and it's okay, and you know, we take it as, well, if they're doing so, let's don't bring by me. They want to behave, so that is them. But you never know when it reaches your doorsteps and inside your own house. So we must take a stand against those kinds of nefarious behaviors. And I'm saying ad nauseum, our public officials need to make a statement on those kinds of behaviors where it pertains to our public service and our employees and within the public service. There is where it is. It's either we are accepting it and let's just pack up and go home.
No, I think that we need to be very specific. Even as we talk about it, and we need to be specific to the fact that this has to do with an underage child. And person's personal sexual orientation is of no concern to their employment status.
But the question is,
when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we talk about having a tolerant society where although persons have different opinions from us, that we can still function as one society. Now, if we are looking at a state of intolerance where sexual orientation is concerned, then we are also promoting intolerance where political opinion is concerned, where religious affiliation is concerned. And that's not the type of society that we want to live in. We want to function in a society where, regardless of persons' personal choices, which mean their right to associate with whatever political organization, their right to worship under whatever religious banner they decide to worship in, and whatever sexual orientation they choose, that we can still operate as a tolerant society and function together for the betterment of Tobago's development. What are you trying to say? That if someone has a particular sexual orientation, that they cannot contribute to the economic development of the island? I think that's an archaic way of thinking, and we have to really move away from that type of mentality, because the way that the world is going, I think that that's a counterproductive narrative and mindset to have.
No, I think that what you have said there is very dangerous, because what you're saying is that counter to the laws of this country, counter to the laws of Almighty God, you are saying let us have tolerance for that. The laws of Trinidad and Tobago do not have tolerance for that kind of behavior. So let's start with the law. The law says that is wrong. The laws of God say that kind of behavior is wrong. And what mankind is trying to do is to say, well, we're not progressing. So we're only progressing if we could harbor and tolerate those kinds of nefarious deeds and persons and unleash them on our children. That's the key. And you want me to have tolerance for that? You have a young child. I'm sure you would never allow or carry your child who may have a problem to an individual like that and feel comfortable. And we have to speak out against that. I am an academic. I am a professional too. And I'm saying at any rate, that kind of behavior and that kind of unspoken policy is not good. It's not progressive at all. It is wrong. It is morally not good for our society. It cannot be that people want us to accept and harbor and feel comfortable with those kinds of behaviors in our society, and do that in a private life, but don't bring it. But even in a private life, I am not saying that somebody who might be a homosexual can't contribute. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying where it encroaches on my own personal rights too, to walk within the society and live and work in the society, and where you want me to force you to accept. I don't have a duty to accept your bad behavior. You could have it, but don't force me to accept it. Don't foist it on our children and then say it's all right.
I understand your position. But we are focused this morning on the discussion as it pertains to the employment.
So the employment thing is that, again, the employment law is very, very clear. It says, in terms of criminal nature, indecent exposure to a minor is a serious criminal offense under the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, likely to fall under the provisions of the Children Act, Chapter 4601. The law is clear. And possibly the Sexual Offences Act, Chapter 1128. Our laws are clear as to what this particular allegation is concerned. It is very clear, totally unambiguous. And the law continues to say, even allegations of such conduct may be grounds for suspension pending investigation. And in fact, it says, indecent exposure to a child is a textbook example of moral turpitude. It violates core societal standards of decency and legality.
Right.
So don't tell me anybody about inclusion and tolerance.
Right. Well,
change the law if you want to be tolerant of that kind of behavior. Just change the law. And then we'll have a social revolt in this country. Tobago ain't ready for that as a society. We are, as far as I am concerned, as far as the law says, that it says it is grounds for immediate dismissal, and I'm calling upon the secretary and the chief secretary to dismiss the employment, that particular employee. Let him fight his case down the road.
Right. And so we look forward to hearing from the Division of Health and Social Protection on this particular matter, possibly before the end of the week. What are their position on this? And specifically in the Social Protection Unit. As you said, you also look forward to hearing from the Chief Secretary as it pertains to the employment of Mr. Hanif Benjamin. And I think that it is, critical to hear that the division and the department distances itself from the type of behavior that Mr. Benjamin has been accused of, because of the sensitivity of the type of cases that are often before the Social Protection.
And before we go.
But even before we wrap up our discussions this morning, I'll allow you to make your final contributions.
It is heartrending. We must stand up for good morals as much as far as is possible. The law is on the side of the secretary and the chief secretary and the board of directors, and the law is on all our sides on this particular matter. Notwithstanding what is before the court, the rules of workplace governance speak to an internal investigation. Societal rules and norms and expectations mandate that the Secretary of Health, in particular, and the Chief Secretary, if she's not acting, in particular as well, make a statement. There's no circumscription. The charges before the court do not and cannot prevent an internal investigation. The society needs to know. The society needs to be protected. We have placed you in a position of trust, and I'm asking the Chief Secretary and the Secretary for Health and all of the concerned persons to make a statement. We cannot make an unwritten statement by silence, and we call that acceptable.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning and bringing your industrial relations expertise to the conversation. Guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussion. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am your host, Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
say thanks for favor. Don't wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong.